welcome to another episode of Help with Natalie Cuomo. I'm here with Julia, otherwise known as Hated Witch. Julia, how are you?
Hello. I am so excited. I am so nervous. I love this so much, and I also love hanging out with you, so I'm very excited.
Yay! I am so happy that you're here. Oh my God. I have been wanting you to come on for so long. I've been putting your videos in my Discord and my Twitch. I love everything that you make. So, okay, Julia is a witch. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am a witch, like a real life professional witch. I have kind of been one my entire life.
Okay.
I was kind of like that little kid that was like, Mommy, I see dead people. And I would be so scared. I would like sleep in between my parents in their bed, which probably ultimately led to their divorce because they got like no alone time. So I would only sleep in between my parents because I was so scared of these like dead people. And then I finally was just like, okay. And I kind of leaned into it more, and I discovered tarot cards, and I discovered like this whole new world, and I've just kind of been doing it ever since. So I do like traditional Italian folk magic, and then a lot of like love and attraction and divination type stuff.
So I met Julia at Inked. She works at Inked,
Yes.
and I walked in there, and I basically was like just finding out all the things that you were into, and I was like, holy shit, like we need to talk.
I was literally sitting like at my desk, and you just like stand up and you were like, you read tarot cards, you're a witch? I was like, yeah. I was like, you want to be besties? I was so excited. It was so fun. It was so fun.
Oh my God. And then we definitely bonded when we did some man on the street videos with Ink. Talked to some real funky cats.
Yeah. Talked to some interesting people.
Okay, so I love tarot cards, but the thing is that like I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, and like I'm learning by like pulling a card every day, reading the book, and like I like to collect tarot decks, but I really like I don't know enough about them. I don't know how to describe them to other people. Like let's start with the basics, okay? What is a tarot deck?
Okay, so a tarot deck it's a divination tool, which has been around for centuries and centuries and centuries. A lot of people think it originated in Europe. And essentially it is a deck of 72, I hope I'm right, 72 cards, minor arcana, major arcana, and they're split up. Each one kind of tells a story. The whole tarot goes through the Fool's journey. So kind of like the journey of life and all of the trials and tribulations that you go to. And it just kind of, you can use it for advice. You can use it for guidance. You can use it you can use it in spell work. You can literally use it for any sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know how else to describe a tarot deck.
Yeah, I feel like people are just what is that? And I'm like,
it just is.
It just is everything.
It's
now,
here.
one of the things that I was so intrigued by is you post a lot of videos of you making spells.
Yes.
And how did you learn how to make spells? Where, like, you put these ingredients in the spells that I'm like, where does she get these things? Like, I'm like, a wasp's nest?
Yes.
Like the last time I saw one of these was on Animal Crossing. Like, what? Like, how do you find these things, and how do you know? Like, how do you have this knowledge? Because like, I can't Google this, you know? Like, I can't look this up. So like, this is like, is this some like deep ancestral knowledge? Like, is this intuitive? Like, how do you know all of this stuff?
So it's a little bit of both. It's definitely stuff that is just like, that I've known. My great Nana was a practicing witch as well, and her sisters were astrologists and stuff. So there was stuff that I already knew and have kind of like seen done. Mostly it's been a lot of reading. I read a lot of spell books, a lot about herbs and plants and stuff. But mostly it's following your intuition. So if you want to sting somebody, you use a wasp's nest. It's kind of like this like common sense sort of thing. If you want to send somebody good luck, then maybe you would use a ladybug instead. But it's kind of this like common sense sort of thing, which makes it a lot of fun because you can get really creative with it.
Do you feel like, do you make spells for other people or potions for other people, or do you use them just for yourself?
So I started just doing it for myself and for like my friends and stuff. And then I started offering tarot readings to clients. And then that kind of turned into I would give a reading and they'd be like, well, can we fix this? And I'd be like, I mean, yeah, with a spell. So then it kind of transformed into me doing mostly spell services. So yeah, I do a lot of spells for other people, which is definitely harder than doing spells for yourself because these people kind of get in the way of like their own spell work. I'm like, you're not fucking doing what I told you to do. Like, no, he's not going to text you back when you're being fucking annoying. You know, if you just like let it be for a week, he'll text you back with my spell. But if you're blowing up his phone, no shit, it's not going to work.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of just a lot of common sense things.
It's kind of like antidepressants. It's like you can't just go on antidepressants and things will go away. You also need to go to therapy.
Exactly. It's all the stupid other work that we don't want to do, but it's necessary.
So can you walk me through like, okay, so basically you're a kid and you're like, I'm having like these psychic feelings. Like, what is the point where you realize like, okay, this is real. I'm not crazy. Like what, I feel like there's probably like a lot that happened between like you sleeping between your parents, you can't sleep, you see dead people, and like now you're like a professional witch. Like what happened?
I ask myself that all the time because I honestly don't know what happened. There was definitely when I was younger, I was like, I don't think this is real. I think I'm dreaming, or like I'm not really sure what's happening. And then I kind of ignored it for a little bit, like throughout middle school and high school. And then I just kind of it was like right before COVID hit, and I was just like, it was just like one of those things where I was like, I need to buy a new tarot deck right now. And so I just bought one. And then since then it was just like, it like completely took off. So it was kind of something that I stepped away from for a while, and it just kind of found its way back to me. And that happens all the time. Every time I try to take a break from witchcraft, something happens where it's like, you need to do a spell, and I'm like drawn back in. I can never stop.
I love witchcraft so much, and something that I deal with a lot because I love witchcraft, I love astrology, I love tarot, and one thing that I deal with a lot is like the doubt of other people.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, like, what is one way, like, how do you deal with the doubt of other people?
So it used to bother me a lot, and I used to really want to prove people wrong. I'd be like, okay, give me a strand of your hair then, and I'll show you that it's real.
Yes, dude.
Like give me some of your blood, and then you'll see.
Yes.
But now it's kind of at the point where I don't really care if people believe in it or not, or if people like think I'm crazy or not, because I'm kind of at the point where whether everything, witchcraft, spirits, divination, tarot, whether that's real or not, it has like helped my life and helped me grow and has helped other people, and it is like something that I enjoy doing. So if I were to like die and find out that none of it was real and I was just like batshit crazy and schizophrenic or something, then I'd still be okay with it. Be like, well, I had fun with it. So it was cool.
I love that. Yeah. I feel like I gained so much every time I pull a card and I like look inward, or like the entire practice, it's about intention.
Yeah. And
I feel like it's very meditative, and I don't know. Astrology's really never wronged me.
No, that tarot cards never lie. Astrology never lies. Witchcraft never lies. It is always stuff that you need to hear. And it's stuff that you always know in your subconscious as well, but you maybe necessarily don't want to admit it.
Do you feel like there's a correct way to do a tarot reading? Like, am I doing this all wrong? Like, am I just doing this wrong? Like, basically what I like to do.
Okay.
So I have one
Walk me
deck.
through.
This is here. There's two different things I do.
Okay.
One thing I take like pretty fucking seriously.
Okay.
I have one deck at home that's like the deck that has my heart inside of it. Like, that's my deck, and I wouldn't bring it here because it's like, I wouldn't, well, like, for you, it'd be fine, but, like, I have comics on that are just kind of, like, laughing at my decks, and I'm like, meh, it's too sacred for that.
I feel that.
And so, like, I leave that at home, and I pull a card every stream, every Twitch stream, and, like, or, like, every day I'll pull a card, and that's, like, my sacred deck. That, I feel like I put a lot of energy in, and I'll just, like, pull a card every day. Then I also do this thing on my podcast where I have lots of different decks, and I'll kind of bring a deck in that I maybe didn't put as much energy into, and I'll just pull a card. I don't feel like, and I'll be like, did this encapsulate the energy of the episode? I don't feel like I've put enough energy into those decks for it to be completely accurate, like in my gut. But my deck at home, I feel like that's my fucking deck. Like, that's like where my heart is. But I don't know. So when I pull a card, I'll shuffle the deck, and then I will cut the deck into 3 piles, and then I will pick a card off the middle pile. Why? I don't know.
You just do.
I just do that.
And that's your intuition. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. You just follow that. There really is like no correct way.
I'm like, am I doing this wrong? I need to ask Julia.
I mean, like, maybe. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
So maybe, but
it
probably
feels
not.
pretty fucking right. Lately I've been pulling cards, and some people in my chat have been like, whoa, I'm believing now. And I'm like, yeah.
That is literally the best feeling.
I know. I'm like, I'm telling you, the tarot's fucking accurate.
And it makes you feel so powerful too. You're like, I know the secrets to the entire world.
The thing is, like, the way it empowers you, like the way like spirituality empowers you is really important to me. Like, I feel like I was raised without religion. My parents are both atheists.
Okay.
And my dad, I remember specifically, there was like a fire down the block from my house when I was like in 7th grade. And we went and we looked at like this house burning. Then we went back to my house, and it was just me and my dad home. And I was like, Dad, like, are heaven and hell real? And he's like, only on earth.
I love that so much.
And I was like, oh. And I'd always freak out about death as a kid. Like, I never could sleep because I would just be like looking around being like, we're all going to die and everything's going to disappear. And like, I was very afraid of death. And I feel like finding spirituality in my adulthood is really like important to me and empowering. And also like just community is very important to me. I feel like the element of religion that community brings a child, I really missed out on. But I'm curious as to like what your religious like upbringing is if you're comfortable, and how that influenced your spirituality. Yeah.
So I was raised Catholic. My entire family is Catholic. I went to religion classes. I got my communion, got my confirmation, ate the bread of Christ, drank his blood, did all of that stuff. And I mean, the whole time my family was not super religious. It wasn't like we went to church every Sunday, but I did do those things. And the whole time I never really felt a connection to it. I did a little bit, but it just wasn't really something that I believed in or just like felt like aligned with me. And then when I got more into witchcraft and spirituality, and kind of discovered all of like the niche sort of things that are under the spirituality umbrella, is when I really found something that aligned with me now. So I don't consider myself Catholic now, but I do use the Bible in a lot of my spells. I do a lot of like saint spell work, asking them for favors. And because I do traditional Italian folk magic, that is so intertwined with Catholicism because of like how the church took over during that time. So it's really interesting how I kind of completely rejected it, and now I'm kind of like coming back into it a little bit, but in like a totally different way, from a more like magic and supernatural standpoint.
So what is traditional Italian folk magic?
So this is like what, before the church came to power, this is like what they were considered medicine women. So it was really, they didn't consider this witchcraft. This was just like the way that they did things. This was just the way life was. They came up with these spells, these mixtures, these tinctures. They healed people. And that's really what it is. It's just kind of traditions and recipes that are passed down, and rituals that are passed down from when before the church took over. But yeah, it's a lot of, there's so much history behind it. It's all medicine women. That's what they were called. And I love that. They were like the doctors before doctors was a thing. So it's really interesting.
What was it like growing up with like your grandmother, you said, like being a witch? Like, did she impart any wisdom onto you as you were growing up?
So it was my great nana who, so my grandpa's mom, and she, for most of the time I knew her, she was not well. Super, like, she was crazy. I love her, but she was batshit crazy.
Like how?
Like, she would like tell us that her boyfriend, she didn't have a boyfriend, was like on the roof with his helicopter, and that he couldn't come to dinner because he stubbed his toe. And so here's the thing. My great nana did end up being schizophrenic. So it does run in my family. But it was one of those things.
It's not looking good for us. It's not looking good for us at all.
I'm trying to be like, no, I promise this is real. I'm not crazy. And then I'm like, oh my, which great nana was schizophrenic? It does run in my family. It's fine. No, she was very healthy most of her life. And then she got older, and
was it Alzheimer's or schizophrenia?
I think it was schizophrenia.
Okay,
I think it was like, it kind of like developed. But I feel like I can't save myself from this now.
No, you can. That's so good.
Oh my God.
No, that's good. I feel it though. Yeah.
So she wasn't well, like, towards the end of her life, but there are like little things that I look back on now, you know, that I'm like, oh, that was witchcraft. You know, she was telling me to like make a wish every time I move the clasp of my necklace from the front to the back. Like that's a little bit of witchcraft. It's like simple things like that I didn't really notice. And now that she passed away a few years ago, and now I feel like I talk to her a lot through like tarot readings and stuff, and that's where I get a lot of wisdom from now. So I definitely get more wisdom from her dead than alive.
In all seriousness, I do feel like mental illness is something that a lot of people struggle with, and it doesn't invalidate like your knowledge or your truth or anything like that. So
definitely,
it doesn't mean like, it doesn't like, you know, struggling with something like that doesn't necessarily like invalidate her experiences or her power or her spirituality.
For sure. And I mean, like, yeah, you can be schizophrenic and you can, you know, hear voices that maybe aren't spirits, but maybe you can hear voices that are spirits as well. So it's kind of like, it's hard to explain to someone or to people who like don't really have never experienced it, but it really is so different. Like, you can really tell the difference between like your anxiety, your conscious like awareness, and when there's something that's just kind of being like placed like into your head, knowledge being placed in there.
My experience, like, so I've always been part of my anxiety, and I'm curious to you about how you tell the difference, but part of my anxiety was like, I'd always be, for example, I'm not afraid of planes anymore, because I have to fly all the time, but I used to be before I was like traveling a lot. And I'd always be like, I'm afraid the plane's going to crash, right? Like that's like a classic fear.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I feel like the plane's going to crash. And I'm like, I can't tell, is this an anxiety or is this a premonition, right? And that's, I think a lot of people with anxiety struggle with that. They're like, is this an anxiety or do I just know that the plane's going to crash? And I realized that like I can kind of tell if like it's an anxiety or a premonition based on like where the feeling is in my body, right?
Yes.
Like, so if it's in my chest, like it's anxiety, and if it's in my stomach, it's more of like a premonition. Like, what do you feel, and like how do you guide yourself through those feelings and experiences?
That is so good, and it's actually really similar for me because I do have a lot of anxiety over everything all the time.
Same.
Yeah. So, which is why we get along so well. But yeah, it definitely is difficult, and it's something that you really have to like work on becoming aware of and kind of really like listening to the sensations in your body. But for me as well, anxiety a lot of the time does start like in my chest, and it will go down to my stomach, but it's mostly kind of up here, whereas the feeling of like intuition comes more from my like lower stomach, and it comes from like a different part of my brain almost as well. Even when I have had like premonitions or have felt intuitive about a situation that was bad and should cause anxiety, when it was just my intuition, it didn't make me feel so panicky. You know what I mean? It was just kind of a knowing and not like a freaking out about it.
Right, because you were able to find acceptance around the truth of it.
Yeah. But it definitely is something that's really difficult and something that a lot of people struggle with. And it can be dangerous too, because you don't want to think that like your anxiety is like a premonition or vice versa.
Right. It's like cyclical too, because it spikes up your anxiety if that's how you feel about it.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely, especially if you struggle with anxiety or depression or any sort of mental illness, when you like go into spirituality, it's really important to practice like grounding yourself into reality as well. Because while being spiritual is like such a great thing, and while there's like so many things to discover, we're also here to have like the human experience. So it's really important as well to like remember that we're on earth, not everything is spiritual as well, and to kind of just like ground ourselves a little bit.
What are some things you do to ground yourself?
I like literally my favorite thing to do is to actually touch grass. Like go outside barefoot, like hands like on all fours like a gremlin or something, and just touch grass and just sit there and be like, I am on earth. Like I am not floating. Stuff like that. I definitely like taking like cleansing showers or baths. I make myself like little sachets to put over my shower head, so it like cleanses me spiritually as well. But for the most part, it really is like getting outside and just fucking touching grass and feeling the earth.
Do you feel like you have like visions ever, or like do you feel like you have like particular like psychic abilities? So most of my predictions, if that's what you would say, come from tarot and come from divination. However, there are a lot of times as well where I don't dream really a lot unless it is like a premonition. So I will have a dream of something, and that'll kind of be like a psychic message, but it doesn't happen for me where I'll just be like sitting there and it'll be like, that's so Raven, where like, right.
I'm like, I felt it. But it definitely does happen. And I'll have like tarot clients come back to me and be like, that thing that you told me 6 months ago that I ignored, it did happen. And which is like really cool, but also nobody ever takes my advice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, should have taken it seriously the first time. I find that a lot of people get tarot readings because they like hearing about themselves and not because they want to fix any problems.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So like, okay, walk me through a typical experience of like, so you're going to give me a tarot reading at the end of this.
Yeah.
And do you feel like you'll tell someone like, I'm feeling this and I think that you should do this, and they're just like, okay, that's nice, but no?
Yeah, like I will definitely have some clients who like take it seriously and who like genuinely want to like better themselves and better their situations, and they do take my advice. And then there's some people who it'll be like, I want to hear about this relationship. And so I'll tell them about that relationship. And when it's bad, they're like, oh, well, tarot's not real anyway, so I'm just going to ignore it. But when it's good, they're like, oh my God, I knew it. You're amazing. This is the best thing ever. This was the best reading ever. So people, I don't know. it's really interesting. It's a big ego thing as well.
Do you feel like you see a side of people that other people don't see? Not even just because you're like you're a witch, but because you're interacting with them in this way where they're allowing you to say like, okay, I'm giving you access to myself in this way. So like, what do you feel like you're like? Do you feel like you're seeing another side of people? And like, what is that? I
was actually just talking about this. I've always been a gossiper. I love gossiping with people. Like since like middle school, high school, like I love talking about people. I'm so nosy. I love knowing things about people. I'm a Scorpio. I want to know all of your secrets and I just want to hold all of your secrets.
Yeah.
And so becoming like a tarot reader is actually has been a lot of fun for me because I'm able to kind of be nosy about people and like gossip with people without it being like frowned upon.
Okay.
And it's sometimes it's a lot of fun, you know. Sometimes I gossip and I get to know about like these people's lives, especially when it's somebody that I went to high school with. And they let me do a tarot reading on them, and I'm like, oh my God, you're doing so bad, and you used to bully me. That's the best when people who used to bully me in high school are like, can you give me a tarot reading? And I'm like, yeah, sure, your grandma says that you're a cunt.
Does their grandma really say they're a cunt?
You know, there was one person who I gave a reading to, and their ancestors, their spirit guides, like fucking hated them. They were like, tell them that they're a stupid bitch. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing that. I'll say it a little bit nicer. No, some people's ancestors are crazy. Crazy.
Oh my God. We have to do the reading soon. Okay, yeah.
I don't even know what I was talking about now.
Oh no, getting to see another side of people.
Oh my gosh, yes. So yeah, I definitely do. And it definitely is. Some people treat it like a therapy session as well.
Right.
Which it's nice that they trust me, but I'm also not professionally trained. You know, I just have some cards. I give you some advice. And there's definitely times where I have to tell people like, no, you need like psychiatric help. Like I can't like I have some crazy ass clients.
So, okay, say I'm like here, right? And I'm just kind of like a person with doubt. Say I'm a person with doubt. I'm not, but say I am, right? And I'm like, okay, Julia, what makes you someone that I'm going to pay to read my cards?
Okay. So I would say that, I mean, I've been practicing this for a long time. This is something that I have put like all of my energy and effort into for years. And this is something that I have researched for years. And I feel like what I like to tell people who are like, well, what makes like you different as a tarot reader is, for me, it's so much more than just like the meanings and the keywords of the cards. And it's really like each card can mean something completely different for each person. And so I really love like kind of fostering that connection with the person that I'm reading, and putting the cards into their context and kind of it's really like it feels like I'm like a messenger between like the spirit realm and like the other person. And so it just kind of feels like it makes me like proud and it makes me happy. And I feel like a lot of readers, it's just kind of like, this is what the cards say, like that's it. And what I try to do is I try to make it like, this is what the cards say, but this is also like my intuition, and this is also some logic and personal experience and kind of all stuff like that.
So if someone wanted to do a reading with you, how would they reach out to you?
So I book all my readings through my website, justhatedwitchtarot.com. And yeah, they pick a date, they pick a time, they pick the type of reading that they want, and yeah, I do it. I send it to them.
So then lastly, before we jump into this reading, because I'm pretty excited about it now, I always have to ask on my podcast the best advice you ever received.
So I have received lots of advice, but I mean, the best advice that I have ever received has probably been from my tarot cards, and it's probably from one of my favorite cards, which is the Tower, which
you wouldn't expect to be a favorite card.
No, but the advice of the Tower is when you're kind of at your lowest and you're self-destructing and you're just like not feeling good and everything's kind of ruined, to just kind of let that happen. Like, let it all self-destruct, burn everything that you knew down. Like, you're at your worst, go like hit rock bottom and just completely like let it all out, cry it out, take the time to deal with that loss and all of those issues, and then you just come back and you rebuild it so much better than how you left it. And yeah, so I feel like overall just the best advice is to like just kind of lean into how things are going, like just lean into the flow and just let it happen. And when you hit rock bottom, that's kind of the best thing that can happen for you, because that is like what happens right before something really good happens.
I feel that I literally have goosebumps from you saying that. The rock bottom is the best thing that has ever fucking happened to me. I the worst and the best, but I know that when I became the best comic I could be, and I'm still becoming the best comic that I can be every single day, but I know that when my career started becoming more of what I want it to be, and when I started becoming the person I wanted to be, is right after I hit the rock bottom I could possibly be, and I was able to build myself up to the person that I want to be and the place that I want to be. So I love that advice.
Absolutely. That's the best.
That's awesome. All right. I feel that we should do this reading.
Okay. Let's do this reading.
Okay. Cool.
I'm nervous.
I'm nervous.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So
You can take the headphones off if you want to. Or
I think it'll be
whatever
okay.
you need to do.
I think it'll be all right.
Okay.
All right.
Also, beautiful deck.
Thank you. So this is my Star Power deck. Lots of interesting imagery.
Okay, so also for context, I always pull a card at the end of an episode, but instead, Julia is going to give me a tarot reading.
Thank you for trusting me to give you a tarot reading.
Thank you for gifting me with this.
Gosh, of course. So is there anything that like you want to specifically know about, or is this just kind of a general what you need to hear right now?
General, what I need to hear right now. Fucking life is happening now.
Life is happening. Okay. So I knock on my decks to wake them up a little bit.
Okay.
I'm like, hello, wake up.
Okay.
And we're just gonna pull. I shuffle like a maniac.
Wow. On purpose?
Like,
yes.
This is the only way I know how to shuffle.
Okay.
Honestly, I never learned how to
the
shuffle.
Lovers fell out.
Yeah, so we have the Lovers in reverse for you.
Wow. Okay.
This is what we have. Okay.
Wow.
Do you read reversals?
It depends on the deck. I don't always know how.
I get it. Well, there's sometimes too where like I'll be reading for myself and I'll pull a card and it'll come out reversed and I'll be like, maybe it was upright because that's a better thing for me.
Yeah, I don't know what the Lovers mean upside down.
So it's not always a bad thing. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I'll keep pulling after. So with the Lovers in reverse, the Lovers upright is all about fun. It's all about making connections that are in alignment with your values and your morals. And so right now there may be kind of a relationship that you have, whether it's platonic or romantic, or something that has some situation that's been kind of happening for you, where you don't feel like you're fully in alignment, where you feel like your values or your morals or your goals or what you actually want is not completely in alignment, maybe with this person or with this situation. And this is really all about kind of like making a choice, the choice between, making the choice of like who you want to be in this lifetime, what you want to create, and why you want to create it. And I feel like with the Lovers in reverse is when you're like taking a step back and reflecting on all of these things and why you want to do all of these things. It's really important that you have like a soul connection to every project that you're doing and everything that you're doing, because we have the King of Pentacles. You are like, you're an insanely busy person, obviously. You do so much. You stretch yourself thin, and it's important to kind of align yourself with what saying no to every single thing that is not going to propel you forward towards where you're wanting to be. Not wasting your time on the maybes or maybe it can work out, maybe I'll like this person, whatever. Like, just completely putting all of your energy into exactly what it is that you want, and really making that choice of what you want to create and why. And having, just really, there's like, it's really having all of them. Everything is wrong with you.
I love it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's what we have so far. It's 222.
I love that.
Okay. It's 4 of Cups. Okay. So this
is a gorgeous deck.
Thank you. I love this deck so much. So going kind of back to these kind of tie in is you are such a open kind of, a very charming person. You make a good impression on people. People are drawn to you. People want to get to know you. This is obviously something that you already know, but what comes with that is, again, like so many choices and so many opportunities, and they all may seem equally good or equally bad, and it's kind of one of those things where it could kind of be kind of like shiny object syndrome, where you are maybe always looking for the next best thing, or maybe these thoughts that the grass is greener on the other side, or maybe there's something else I should be focusing on, or there's something better for me that I can be doing. And just like being such a talented and social person, you just have all of these things right in front of you. And so that's where we're like drawing back onto like really prioritizing where you're putting your energy and your creativeness and your work into, because there's a million things that you could be doing, but it's honestly kind of finding that those few things that you really, really, really love, and sticking to that. And then, let's see, how much more time do we have? Can I pull some more?
We have till 2:45.
Amazing.
So I'm stuck on the Lovers upside down.
Okay.
Can you explain it to me?
So the Lovers isn't always romantic. Really, it's about like it's duality, it's choices. So when you're not in a relationship right now.
Mm-mm.
You're single Pringle. But there's possibly like this situation or person or some type of relationship, platonic or romantic or whatever, where there's just kind of this like something's missing, whether, it's like not completely in alignment with what you want, with your goals, with your values, your morals, your style, whatever it is. And so it's really about like taking that step back and thinking, what is it that I truly want to create, and why, and what for? Because I feel like what this is telling you is that it's not really enough to just like want something. It's really about like having that connection to it and knowing like why you want it, and how you want it, and just kind of putting all of those things together, because like we said, you have so many choices, so many things that you could be doing.
Okay, so then what do these 3 other cards mean?
So these kind of all go together. So the King of Pentacles, that's what was showing us that, you know, you are a busy person, you're a social person, you're somebody who's successful, you are, you're a leader, you leave good impressions. A lot of people want to get to know you.
Thank you.
Yes, you're successful. And so because of that, you, with the 9 of Cups, you have all of these choices and so many different things that you could be doing. And so that then kind of brings us back to the Lovers, where, you know, kind of making those choices of what it is that you truly want, instead of, you know, diving headfirst into all of the other things that you could be doing.
And then what about the 4 of Cups?
And then the 4 of Cups, so this is more so, I think, leaving behind what you know that is no longer in alignment. So this is, I feel like these 4 cards, I feel like, is kind of your spirit guides, like giving you a task right now, some homework, to be like, take a step back, evaluate where you are, evaluate like all of your choices, all of your directions, all of the things that you're doing, and pick out like the best ones, and let go of everything else that is not in alignment. Anything else that is like outdated, whether that is like behavioral patterns or your mindset, or, you know, old stories that you may have told about yourself or heard about yourself, old relationships, you know, old connections, old situations that you just don't need it anymore, and really letting go of those things so that you can open yourself up to more things that are really in alignment with your vision and your goals.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
I know it's a lot.
No. Yeah. Okay, cool.
It's a lot. However, from also, if we want to take it from like a relationship standpoint, I feel like the person that you are going to be with is going to be somebody who is totally not your type and totally not what you would expect. And so definitely keep an open mind about that.
Cool.
But yeah, I hope that made sense.
That's
I
good.
can pull some more. I have some self-care oracle cards as well, if you need to know what you should be doing to take care of yourself.
This was a really good reading. Yeah, I love oracle cards.
I love oracle cards as well.
How would you describe the difference between an oracle deck and a tarot deck?
So tarot has, it's always the same cards. It's the same 72 cards. Tells the story from the Fool to the World, to the Pentacle suit, the Cup suit, the Sword suit, Wand suit. Whereas oracle cards are completely different depending on the deck. This is a self-care deck, so these are all kind of self-care cards, and they'll give you some advice on what you need to hear right now.
Okay.
Yeah, where tarot cards are just, they all have the same, each deck has the same meaning.
Okay,
if that
cool.
makes sense. These all have different themes. All right, Natalie, what do you need to do to help yourself?
A lot.
Connect with your womb.
What does that mean? Sex?
Well, there is a sex one in
Or
here as well.
have a baby?
Both.
Yay!
Honestly, no, I feel like overall, so connecting with your womb, like, in all honesty,
Femininity.
It sounds silly, but femininity, and we all have these like dual forces. We all have our masculinity, we all have our femininity, and it has nothing to do with like what society thinks like male and female is, but
Right.
It has everything to do with like divine masculinity is more so your actions, your words, how you lead, and your divine femininity is your creativity and your intuition, your connections with other people. I think, and a lot of it is like self-care as well. I think you need some time to kind of like, to just kind of connect with yourself on like an intimate level. If you need to, when was the last time you masturbated?
But okay, so you're telling me to masturbate.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, listen, I can definitely do the assignment for sure.
And one time my therapist gave me that assignment.
Really?
Yeah, she did.
At least it was a female therapist.
Yes, it was nice. It's nice. This one, we're done.
Now, thank you so much for this reading. I really loved it. And okay, so to take it away, like in one sentence, basically, I do spread myself too thin, and I do need to think more specifically about the choices that I'm making.
Yeah, and it's not even just like, it's not even about like being more careful or like making better choices. It's just about like really having that like sense of like I am worth so much, and so I am not going to put my energy and my time into things that aren't going to benefit me. It's kind of like you're in your selfish era, and that's okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, and that even goes with the masturbating.
Exactly. Yes, with the masturbating. Like you are kind of like in this point where there are like which is so good. Like you have so many things going for you. And so now it's like, okay, what do I want?
Okay. I like that. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Of course.
And now, I would be wrong if I didn't tell the story on my podcast.
Oh my gosh.
How I was catfished by someone pretending to be you, and I believed for a second.
Oh my God. Please. It's so embarrassing for me. No, it's embarrassing for me too.
No, it's embarrassing for me, Julia.
Yeah. So Natalie
Why is it
full on got
cat.
It's embarrassing for me when people think that it's me, because I'm like,
why?
Especially if they never find out that like it wasn't me, and it's like, damn, Julia talks like that, like she's that desperate. What is going on? No, honestly, it is not embarrassing. I have had so many clients literally send those people money, like hundreds of dollars. I had one client who was like, I sent this account $600. I really hope it's you. I'm like, damn, it's not me, but maybe I should be raising my prices.
Okay, well, first of all, they made like a very impressive fake account because it had like tons of followers. They had all of these posts. Like, I was like high as fuck. You had posted a photo of me on the Inked page, like as a story that day. So I was already like, yeah, I probably was on Julia's mind. She posted a picture of me today on the story. So like, that makes sense. And they're like, it was like, hello. Like I hate myself so much.
It was like, hello, beloved.
But then I was literally like talking to my friend about it. I was literally like, I don't know why she's talking like this. Like, it's so weird. Like, I really like this girl. Like, we hung out. Like, we had so much fun doing the Man on the Street stuff. And like, now she's like talking to me so weird. Like, I don't get it. Like, I thought she was so cool before.
Oh my God, it's so bad. No, but honestly, like my aunt has fell for it. Like, I have had like family members fall for it. It's so out of hand because they just buy these followers.
They play on you, and they're like, so tell me, like, what are you feeling?
Yeah.
And I was like, can I tell you tomorrow? They're like, I want you to tell me now so you can dream about it. And I'm like, well,
they do not stop.
I guess, like, and they're like, what, do you feel okay with texting me first thing in the morning? And that's when I was like, okay.
Do you feel okay with texting me first thing in the morning? Can we do that now? Yes. Can that be like a new morning routine? You just text me as soon as you wake up. I need you to text me.
The way they talk is crazy. The way they talk is crazy. And I was upset. I was like, why does she talk like this now?
I can't.
Oh my God. But you know,
I'm very glad that you knew that it wasn't me, and that wasn't like the last like thing that you
I am like humiliated. Like I was like telling my friends, I was like, oh my God, like I was so high. It was 1 a.m. and I was like, how would she had a vision about me? Like I hate myself.
That is so fucking funny.
I was like, I am in a dark place right now. How did she know? I do need a reading.
I can't even take it. These people, they will send, there was like one time where they said to one of my clients who was like, I don't have the money right now, maybe next week. They were like, well, you're gonna die by then. Like, this is really bad. You have a curse on you. And they'll say things like that too. And it's terrible.
It's like a MySpace chain letter.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, damn. Julia, thank you so much for doing my podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're awesome. Where can people find you?
So you can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Hated Witch. That's it. Nothing special. And my website is hatedwitchtarot.com. And yeah, that's it. That's my stuff.
Yay.
And Inked Magazine. You're welcome.
And check out Julia's shirt.
Okay, yeah, I'm wearing Natalie merch. I've gotten so many compliments on it. You're not gonna be able to see the back, but
yeah. So check out
Inked Shop.
Yep. Bye guys. See you next week.
Bye.
Thanks.